I'm going through the worked answers for the grade 9 maths test for chapters 1 and 2. And the first question says, use your calculator to work out the value of 2.14 cubed minus 3.76 divided by the square root of 1.24. So use your calculator. You would literally get your fraction button. You would put 1.24 cubed minus 3.76. Use your arrow button and then press square root 1.24, and you would press equal, and it says write down all the figures. So write down everything you see on the calculator. 5.424, 3890, and then 42. And then write your answer to part A. So that's my answer to part A. Correct to two significant figures. That's the first significant figure, the second significant figure. The 2 doesn't round the 4 up, so it's 5.4. And then question 2 is an estimating question. And when you're estimating, you're trying to make the numbers as easy as possible. And generally, you are rounding to one significant figure. So to one significant figure, 89.3 is closest to 90. 0.51, I can keep as 0.5. And 4.8, I round to 5. And the reason I leave this as a decimal is because multiplying by 0.5 means halving something. It means dividing it by 2. 90 times 0.5 is 45. Divided by 5, the answer is 9. Now, you actually get marks for getting this or this or this correct. Getting 2 of these 3 numbers correct gives you 1 mark, M1, 1 method mark. And then the answers, they give you a range. So it doesn't have to be 9, depending on how you've rounded. The range of answers is from 9.8 all the way to 9.5. So the second mark is for getting a final answer in that range. And question 3, they already tell you the answer, so you can see that the denominator is 30, and I would work to that. 10 times 3 is 30, 3 times 3, so 9 over 30. 15 times 2, and therefore 2 times 2, so plus 4 over 30 gives me 13 over 30. So it is a 2-mark question, and they basically want to see those two fractions, or they want to see fractions with a common denominator, and maybe you've simplified it, but I would work with 30 because that's what they've given. Another show me question, and it's a division question. Now, you can use a calculator. What they want to see is they want to see those mixed numbers turned into top-heavy fractions. So if you get the shift button, you press shift, and then you press the fraction button, you get those 3 boxes, and you put 2 and 5/8 in, and you press equal, and you get 21 over 8. They want to see that. Divide by, and you do the same thing here. Shift, fraction, 1 and 1/6, and you get 7/6. So you get a mark for that. This is a 3-mark question, and you definitely get a method mark here. And then they want to see that you recognize that in a division, the second fraction turns upside down. So it becomes 6 over 7, and the division sign becomes a multiplication. So they want to see that as well. That gives you a final method, the second method mark. And then they want to see one of two things. Either, I'm going to put it here. So either you're going to multiply the numerators together and the denominators together, and you do have a calculator, so you can use it. 21 times 6 is 126, and of course 7 times 8 is 56, and that is an even number, so you keep simplifying. So you keep simplifying until you get it to 4. I would do the following. I would say to myself, well, how many times does 4 go into 56? 56 divided by 4. Well, that's 14 times 4, so divided by 14. Divided by 14. 126, and I'd use my calculator, divided by 14 is 9. And then your final answer must look like that, equal 2 1/4. So either you've done that, or you recognize that 21 divided by 7 is 3, 7 divided by 7 is 1. I can simplify even more by dividing 6 by 2, I get 3, 8 by 2, I get 4. So they see that you've simplified, and you very quickly get 9/4, and your final answer should look exactly as the question. So I've done questions 1, 2, and 3, and I'm going to move on to question 4. And it says 1 euro is 120 yen, this is all money, and 1 pound equals 1.2 euros. Change 50 pounds into yens. So let's have a look. 1 pound, 1.2 euros. To get from pound to euros, from 1 to 1.2, I multiply by 1.2. And then 1 euro is 120 yen. So to get from 1 euro to 120, I multiply by 120. So I want to go from pounds to euros, and then from euros to yen. So 50 times 1.2 gives me the euros. 50 times 1.2, 60 euros. And then I'm going to multiply by 120 because I want to find that in yens. So times 120, so 7,200 yen. Okay, and question 5 is about ratios. In a box, number of red buttons to number of blue buttons is 5 to 3. So red to blue. And the number of blue buttons to green buttons is 1 to 2. There are 48 green buttons in the box. Work out the number of red buttons in the box. So blue to green is 1 to 2. Green, I put there in the green column. How did I go from 2 to 48? Well, if you're not sure, you can do 48 divided by 2 and you would get 24. So times 24, which means to get to the blue, 1 times 24 equals 24. But I don't want blue, I want red. So I now need to use the next. Red to blue is 5 to 3. Blue is 24. Well, how did I get from 3 to 24? Again, if you're not sure, you would do 24 divided by 3. Divided by 3, yes, is 8. 3 is 8. So I multiplied here by 8, which means I multiply this by 8. 5 times 8 is 40. So I have 40 red buttons. The length of a fence is 137 meters, correct to the nearest meter. So the rounded unit is 1. This is about lower bound and upper bound. I need to divide the rounded unit by 2. And it's this that I add and subtract. So the lower bound is 137 minus 0.5, which is 136.5. And the upper bound is 137 plus 0.5, which is 137.5. And again, this is a show me question. Show that the recurring decimal 0.17 recurring is 8/45. So this decimal looks like this: 0.17777, and it goes on forever. There is a number that doesn't repeat, and then there is a repeating pattern. The first thing I do is I look at the number that doesn't repeat. There's only one digit, so I times that by 10. So times here by 10, times here by 10. So I get 10x, and I get 1.777 forever. And then I look at the non-repeating digit and the repeating pattern, and the repeating pattern is also only one digit, but together, let's put that here, together there's 2 digits. So I need to multiply the original number by 100. So I get 100x equals 17.777, and you can see that the pattern is lining up. And I subtract. 100 minus 10 is 90x, and 17 minus 1 is 16. So x is 16 divided by 90, 16/90, and it still doesn't do that. If you're not sure that you're correct, put it into the calculator. So 16/90 will give you 8/45. So just check that you're doing the same thing, and then your final answer has to be 8/45. And question 8. Lisa sees a dress in a sale. The normal price of the dress is $45. The price of the dress is reduced by 12% in the sale. Work out the price of the dress. So this is a situation like this. The original price was reduced by 12%, and the new price is 45. And I need to work backwards, so I need to be dividing by the multiplier, times, and I need to find that. And the multiplier is 100%, minus 12% is 88%, which is 0.88. So I multiplied it by 0.88, so I need to divide it by 0.88. The numbers don't change. 45 divided by 0.88. And that is a long number. I've pressed the SD button twice. And it's 51.14 because this 6 rounds the 3 up. And because we're looking at money, I'm rounding to 2 decimal places. So 51.14. And then Lisa's weekly pay increases from 525 to 546. Calculate her percentage increase. So the first thing you would do is you find the difference. You would find the change. So 546 minus 525. And then you would divide by the original. So her weekly pay increased from, that means that's the original. So you always divide by the original and times by 100 because you're looking for a percent. So 546 minus 525 divided by 525. I use my arrow to go up times 100 and I get 4%.